Your fear of rejection, your fear of being seen, your fear of making content is totally normal and natural. Our fear of rejection is a survival mechanism. We have the same brains as our ancestors who were hunter-gatherers, and they needed to belong and be accepted by their tribe in order to survive. And so being rejected or being ostracized is literally a threat to your survival and to your life. And we all still have those fears within us. And even though it's not as relevant in modern day society, we still have the same brains as our ancestors that give us those fears. Being accepted by society is still important for our survival. I mean, if you get fired from a job because of the way you act, or if you get canceled and you don't have a source of income anymore, obviously that's a threat to your survival as well. But it's still not as relevant of a fear, and you can survive having the world hate you if you need to. But what you have to do if you want to start posting content is to overcome this fear of rejection. And you do that by making your body feel safe and feel like it's okay for you to do this. I had an intense fear of rejection, intense fear of criticism, of judgment, of being seen even. I grew up with very critical parents and I felt rejected by them. And so I basically lived my entire life just trying to not be judged and rejected and criticized by other people, which resulted in me just trying to make myself really small, like not speaking, not being myself, just trying to not be perceived and not open myself up to any type of criticism or judgment. And I just say this to let you know that no matter where you're at with this, there's hope for you. Now I'm posting on YouTube with no fear when these fears used to control every single aspect of my life. And so what I suggest doing in order to get over these fears is sort of like exposure therapy and just taking it step by step. And so what you're gonna do first is film the content and just tell yourself that you don't have to post it. You're just filming it for practice. You're just filming it just because. And remind yourself that you don't actually have to post this content, so there's no reason to be fearful. And then you wanna just edit the content. And again, you don't have to post it, it's just for practice. And then write the caption, write the title, draft the post. And again, it's just practice. You don't actually have to post it. And then at that point, the only thing between you and posting the content is the click of a little button. And you just have to be willing for 1 second, a split second, to be willing to click that button and post that content. Or you can even have someone do it for you. Usually I find by this point, I already put so much time into the content that I want to just post it anyway, even if I'm embarrassed or even if I'm insecure about it. And again, you literally don't have to post it. You could change your mind at any point in this process and decide that you don't want to post it, but at least try, at least film it, at least edit it. And don't put that pressure on yourself to have to post it, but at least work towards it a little bit. And then as you start to see that nothing bad happens when you post content and it's not actually a threat to your safety and your survival, you're not actually gonna die, nothing bad's actually happening, over time, this is gonna get rid of that fear that's associated with it. And it's gonna calm your ego down because you're realizing that nothing bad is actually happening, there's actually nothing to fear. And you're proving those fears wrong, so they're gonna go away eventually. The reason that I started posting content is because I got so sick that I couldn't work anymore, and I was like, I need to make money somehow, and I have all these medical bills and I need money to survive. I have a clothing brand that was not successful because I never marketed it, and so I was like, it's time for me to finally face this fear and to do the marketing for it. And that helped me face my fear of being seen and face my fear of putting myself out there in rejection and judgment in a way that felt safer because I wasn't putting my actual personality out there. I was able to hide behind my clothing brand and just say, you know, I'm doing this for my clothing brand instead of actually putting my true personality and my true thoughts and opinions out there into the world. And I think that's what I needed personally, because then it got to a point where I was able to realize there was nothing to fear and able to actually admit to myself, you know what, I don't even want this clothing brand, I actually want to do YouTube. And I've always dreamed of doing YouTube. I always had this little voice in the back of my head telling me to make YouTube videos. I just always thought that I wasn't good enough. I had all these fears, all these reasons why I shouldn't do it. And I just thought, what do I have to offer to the world? What do I have to say that's interesting? Why would anyone want to watch my videos? And I want you to understand that your insecurities and your self-doubt are just feelings. They're not facts. They're not the truth. You thinking that you're not good enough is wrong. And it's totally okay for you to feel that way, but it's not the truth, and you shouldn't make decisions from a place of your insecurities and your self-doubt. Try to make decisions from a place of believing in yourself and believing that everything is going to work out for you. When we tell ourselves we're going to do something and we always talk about doing something and we consistently break trust with ourselves and don't end up doing that thing, and we don't honor the promises that we make to ourselves, that's what's going to ruin your confidence in yourself. That's what's going to break your trust with yourself. And the more that you're able to actually go after your goals and actually do the things that you say you're going to do, the things that you want to do, you're going to be able to rebuild your confidence and rebuild trust with yourself. And it is going to make you feel more secure in yourself and feel like you're good enough. It's uncomfortable at first to make content. It's uncomfortable to hear your own voice, to see yourself, to have to edit yourself, and it brings all these insecurities up to the surface, but it really does get easier over time. Everyone hates hearing their own voice at first, but now I don't even think about it when I'm editing my videos. And honestly, the discomfort of making content and putting yourself out there, even in the beginning, is so much better than the discomfort of just staying stuck and being disappointed in yourself and not following through on the things you want to do in your life. I've been posting YouTube videos for 4 months now, and my self-doubt went from being almost constant to now I have it maybe 1% of the time. And I like to just view my self-doubt as something that is leaving my body and it's coming up to be released, and I just don't act on it. I just observe it and I'm like, okay, this is something I have inside of me. I have a lot of self-doubt, and now it's being released from my body through this process of me facing my fears. And so that's the way that I like to view it, and my self-doubt has gone away almost completely over time. You have something unique to offer the world that no one else has, and your thoughts and your experiences and your opinions are so familiar to you because obviously you live with them every day. But to other people, they're valuable and they're interesting. And just understand that no one else is like you, and you actually have something special to offer the world that no one else can. No matter who you are, this is the truth. And the internet is not oversaturated with content. There's so many people consuming content. It's almost impossible for there to be too much. Only 5% of people who are on the internet are actually creating content. The majority of people are just consuming it. And I feel like we can't comprehend how many people there actually are in the world. But just think about how many YouTubers there are getting millions of views, how many businesses there are with so many customers. There's so many people out there, and we all consume multiple sources of content, and we all buy from multiple businesses. So don't think about it being oversaturated and that there's too many people already on the internet, because you have something unique and special to offer that no one else has, and there's room for everyone to be successful. Another thing that I think is really important to be aware of is that you might not be proud of what you're creating at first. You might really hate what you're creating at first, and you just have to get over that uncomfortable feeling. Ira Glass talks about how people who get into the creative field, they have good taste, but when they first start creating things, their skill levels are not going to match up to their taste. And so you're putting all this work into something, and what you're creating is not meeting up to what you want it to be. And so that's a really uncomfortable thing to go through in the beginning. It might even make you feel like you're not meant to do this and you should give up. And that's why I wanted to mention it, because I feel like it's so important to be aware of this. There is a period in the beginning where you need to build the skills up in order to be able to create things that you're proud of and things that you actually like. And it doesn't even mean that your content is bad in the beginning. It's just not meeting up to your taste level, but still post it anyway. Everyone has to go through this period of building up their skill level and getting better at things. And all the famous directors that you admire, all the YouTubers that you admire, everyone who creates any type of art, they have to get better at it at first, and they're gonna have that period in the beginning where the stuff they're creating is just not that good. But you just gotta create as much content as you can to get through that period to the point where you can be proud of the stuff you're creating. When it comes to creating content, when it comes to creating art, really any skill or job or anything, you have to first build up the skills to be good at that thing. Don't let it discourage you when you don't just immediately have all the skills that you need. And a lot of people refer to this as climbing cringe mountain. As uncomfortable as I was putting myself out there and being seen and trying to film YouTube videos and stumbling over my words and it not turning out how I wanted it to. The discomfort was honestly so much better than the discomfort of doing nothing and not going after my goals and my life never changing. And it's worth it to try. And even as I was feeling kind of disappointed and discouraged by the content I was making, I still felt so much fulfillment knowing that I was actually doing the things that I want to do and I was building up the skills to be better at these things. So as much as I talk about the discomfort in the beginning, it's actually not as bad as you think. I just want you to be aware of this so that you don't give up and you're able to get through it, but it's really not that bad. It's not worse than you right now doing nothing. You don't need money or fancy equipment to start either. I just have a $15 tripod. I'm using my iPhone. Usually I use natural lighting from a window, and people make content that is even worse quality or where they don't even have video to go along with it. So don't feel like you need to even invest money before you start making content. Just start doing it with whatever you have already. Also, something I like to do to help me with the creative process and being in the right mindset to film videos and to articulate myself well is not going on social media in the mornings, not going on my phone in the mornings, and not consuming any content until I create some. I've just noticed that going on social media or watching YouTube videos will really mess up my focus and make it hard for me to concentrate and be motivated and think clearly. And as someone who doesn't drink caffeine, this is so important for me to actually stay motivated and focused and be able to do the things I want to get done. So if you're someone that struggles with being focused and motivated, I recommend trying not going on your phone in the beginning part of your day and not consuming any content. Going on social media really messes up your focus and messes up your dopamine reward system. And so it makes it harder for you to be productive. When you face your fears and your insecurities and you work through your fears and you show yourself that you can overcome them, all of these things become your strengths, and you literally can turn your weaknesses into your strengths when you learn how to overcome them. And so it's like the more things that are wrong with you, the better, because that's going to be something that you can help other people through one day. And I used to be so depressed. I used to be so anxious. I used to have all these different fears and obsessive thoughts and so many things wrong with me. And now, through healing all those things about myself, all of those insecurities and all of those issues have become knowledge. And now I have the knowledge to help people build confidence and to help people overcome depression and help people overcome anxiety and help people make content. Whatever it is that you feel like is wrong with you or that is holding you back, you have the ability to turn that into your strength. So don't feel limited by any fears that you have, any insecurities that you have, any mental illnesses you have, because when you're able to face those things and work through those things, then you're turning them into knowledge and power and strength. You can't gain knowledge and wisdom from people who haven't done the work to come out of a certain place. You know what I mean? So don't view your flaws and your insecurities as a bad thing, because they're actually going to become your strengths one day. Thank you so much for watching. I would love if you leave a comment. I never know how to end my videos.